What's up? Now, this is the second part to the ancestral worship, but it's going to be on how to set up an altar. There are various ways everybody can set it up, but this is just the formal fundamentals of an altar that is done in the Korean tradition. We call it Jesa. What you could do as a Westerner, you can take bits and pieces of, of these ideas and apply them to your own practice. So you don't have to do it like this setup. It's not necessary. Certain things might be necessary, but if unless you're Korean, the formality is not necessary to this extent. Koreans have been doing this for thousands of years, so we're very adept at how we do it. Where we have rules and everything. So, anyways, say for instance, I hate to say this, but you're setting up your ancestral altar, and it's for your great grandfather or great grandmother or grandmother or grandfather that is deceased. Usually, this is done at the eldest son's house, and usually the food that is presented on the altar is that which is favored by the deceased. Like if your grandmother loves, I don't know, Big Macs from McDonald's or mac and cheese, you can put mac and cheese. If she was Mexican, and she loved tacos, and you could put tacos or menudo, or just adapt this concept to your own practice. And you might say, well, this makes a little bit of sense. But you'll need a memorial tablet, and we call it the Shinwi. Um, anyone can, and you can substitute the memorial tablet for anything. Now, usually it symbolizes the spiritual presence of your ancestors, and it's usually placed on the back of the altar. So what we do, we have calligraphy. Usually, it's the husband's wife, whoever is good at calligraphy. They will write their name and the family lineage on a piece of paper, and then they'll put it in a little plaque at the very back and of the altar. So it sits at at the not at the forefront, but at the back among the setup. So, um, calligraphy is fine. A picture is fine. So, great grandma Sue, a picture of her at the center of the table at the very back, so where the setup is, that could be that could be fun. Put the mac and cheese, whatever, hamburgers, French fries, potatoes, whatever. I don't know, whatever Granny loved to eat. Um, Now, this usually takes place at midnight or the evening on their before their death. So, say grandma died May 11th, 1999. So you would have this set up on May 10th, of the evening of May 10th. But when it reaches midnight, this is when you want to start doing this ancestral ritual. Uh, then you want two white candles, okay? White is necessary because white symbolizes the afterworld. Oftentimes, ghosts or spirits are the color white. So, they're not black. Mourning is for black. When you're sad, you wear black, or if it's your lucky color, like it's mine. It's my lucky color because I was born in the year of the snake. But anyways, white symbolizes the afterworld, death, ghosts, spirits. And then you also want incense. Now, incense, this can be any type of incense that you prefer. Sandalwood is usually the common incense that is burned, but if you don't like incense and you have some rose incense, and grandma loved the smell of roses, go with the rose incense. Don't kill yourself looking for sandalwood, even though it's available everywhere and it has a pleasant smell. But if you just can't stand sandalwood, that's fine. Pick an incense that you feel intuitively close to. Now, uh, the thing that you want to do in performing the ritual before I go into the performance of the ritual, I think what is necessary that we need to address is the actual setup. Now, here is a mock-up of it, of a Jesa ritual table that Koreans do. Now, as you will see, the back is facing the north, and then the front is facing the south, and then there's east and west. And at this table, you will see the Shinhwa, or the calligraphy tablet, at the very back, or you could put Grandma's picture back there. Okay, and then you want to set the incense and the incense burner at the very center of the table and at the very bottom at front. But you also want wine there, like any liquor that grandma liked or any drink. If she wasn't into drinking that much, then I don't know, throw coffee in there. If she loved coffee, if she liked Coca-Cola, give her Coca-Cola, just improvise. This is how the Koreans do it, with a very specific way. This is how our traditions are. But, if grandma loves Sprite, give her Sprite, okay? Now, to perform the ritual, you will see that, or before we perform the ritual, then you will see that there is a level of fruit involved. So if grandma loved any fruit, strawberries, put strawberries down. If she loved apples, put apples down. Any vegetables or dried fish, which probably she didn't eat dried fish, but she might like beef jerky, okay? So let me see if I can get that to come up again. It's getting dim. All right. Oh, shit. Okay, sorry about that. So, Grandma loved beef jerky, and she liked beef jerky a lot, let's say that. And she loved Brussels sprouts and corn and what have you. So, put that up there, okay? And then this is like the soups. Like, what did Grandma like to eat? What kind of soups? Well, she loved broccoli and cheese. This is going to be more Koreanized, but my grandmother probably liked seaweed soup. Then you will see right here. Oops. You will see right here that there are candles. Now you want to put the candles off to the side like this, okay? And then there are the meats. So what did grandma love to eat? Oh, she loved a steak, okay? And she loved pork chops. So put that right there. And then in the back, there's rice, okay? So maybe grandma didn't eat rice. Maybe she loved bread. So put bread back there or something, something she enjoyed. Um, don't limit yourself to this setup, but take it as like a type of template to work with. Now, what you would do is to perform the rituals. There are several greetings that you want to do to bring the spirit down to the ancestral altar. And the first is to offer wine or drinks. So, Grandma loved Sprite. So, let's pour this Sprite into the cup and then pour it into a bowl because you're offering it to grandma to drink. So you pour it in, you offer it to grandma, and then pretend she drinks it, and then pour it into the bowl. And I believe you do this about 2 or 3 times. So you'll pour it, grandma loves to drink Sprite. Here, grandma, here's some, and then you pour it and then do that. And then the eldest son or whoever's doing this, maybe it's just you and not your whole entire family, you would bow to grandmother. So bowing is a sign of respect in Asian cultures. So you would go down to the floor and bow to grandma and say, thank you, think to yourself, thank you, grandma, for giving me this life. Thank you, grandma, providing for providing everything you have for me in this life and teaching me the traditions and cultures that you brought with your family, from Poland or something. And then the second eldest son would also pour some wine and or Sprite or Coca-Cola into into the cup and offer it to grandma, and then you would do that, and then the third eldest son. So whoever's in the family thinks, this is like whoever you have on the memorial of her birthday or death, that you would do this. You would say, "Come, grandma," partake in this thing, because in Asian culture we believe that spirits can do 3 things. They can see, hear, and smell. And those are the only things they can do. They can't taste. So this setup is for them to smell. Okay, oh man, I haven't smelled a Big Mac in like ever, grandma's like, "Ah, oh, I would love a Big Mac right now. And this is what you're doing. You're offering grandma a Big Mac, okay? Now, then after you do that ritual of bowing and pouring the drinks and burning the incense and ringing the bell down here, after each time you bow and say your thank yous to grandma and bring her to summon her spirit to come to you, and enjoy this feast, you would ring the bell. So pour a drink. Thank you, grandma. We love you. Come and partake in this feast. It's for you. We've done this for you in our honor and respect of who you are. Ring the bell. Do this about like 3 times. And then in the back, you will see that there is rice right here and right here, and there are spoons. Now, at the very end of doing the bowing ritual, like it goes down to like three eldest sons, but it could just be you doing this. You would take the spoons and you would stab them into the rice straight up. So when you hear that, Asians like, oh, don't stab your chopsticks in the rice straight up. That is like you're calling on the spirit, you're calling on ghosts. That's what you're doing right here. You're calling on grandma to eat. Now you can do this with, I don't know, a fork or a knife into a loaf of bread. Just like take a knife and stab it into the top of a piece of bread and say, okay, grandma, here it is. You go ahead and cut yourself a slice, girl, because you deserve it, because you've done so much for us and you brought us into this world. And we respect everything you have done for us. And please keep us safe. Remember, you're praying, you're asking her for wishes, you're praying to her because you want her to protect you, you want her to bring good fortune to you, you want her to uh, make your life better. You want your grandmother to help you in times of need and in times of fortune, to be there for you. So, you want grandma to come and always be around you. It's like a form of necromancy. You're communicating with the dead. You're trying to evoke grandma grandma to come and partake in your life and good fortune that she has led you towards in this life. So even though she's not with you, she's there in spirit. She's guiding, leading you, protecting you from all that is not so good in this world. And then so once grandma's spirit has finally come, you summoned a grandma's spirit to come, that is the time for everyone to leave the room. Okay. And everyone leaves the room and goes into another room, and you're letting grandma like feast on this feast of this meal of good fortune and happiness. It's like, oh grandma, you deserve this, because this is all yours. And her spirit's there, and she's like smelling all this food. She's like, oh, I haven't smelled French fries in ages, and now I have French fries, or I have a Big Mac, or I have I don't know, pierogies or whatever, or sandwiches. And you leave the room and let grandma and her spirit have a good time, enjoying the feast. Then after that, the eldest son, he starts clearing his throat, and he's like and that tells everybody, okay, grandma has partaked in the meal, she's enjoyed everything, and now it's time for us to come back to the ritual offering, and eat, or get ready to eat. But before we eat, the tea is there's a tea that you also want to pour grandma up, but you don't have to pour tea for her. You already gave her Coca-Cola or whatever, so you're already respecting her. But in the formality of this, as a final drink, of the meal, we pour tea. Some people drink coffee after their meals. You could do that. You're like, oh grandma, she's done eating, let's pour her some coffee now. So we're pouring coffee for grandma. And then everyone bows twice. And then after everyone is, then the food and all that stuff and the wine is all cleared away. So we clear all this away and we set it up for our own feast. So you're going to eat this food, okay? It's going to be yours. But before you actually eat the dinner that was prepared like this, you need to take this calligraphy. Now, I'm one. You don't need a. I don't want to do this to a picture of grandma, but if you got like 50 printouts of grandma's picture, you can do this. But you can take like a Xerox copy of grandma's picture, and then you want to take this calligraphy piece right here, not the wooden stays, but there is a piece of paper in there. You want to take that calligraphy paper out. And once you take that calligraphy paper out, once you take that calligraphy paper out, you want to take that piece of paper and you want to burn it. Okay? You want to set it afire because you're sending grandma's spirit back up to the astral realm. You don't need her to stay there. So take that piece of paper and burn it. You don't have to burn grandma's picture if you don't want to. That's why I advise just do some nice calligraphy of grandma. Say, this is grandma Jean, and her lineage, is of she's the grandmother of the family, and she's the matriarch, and she's the last line, or the female line of the Johnson family line. And then just calligraphy, and then burn that. And then take all this food, and then everyone gets to eat. So this is the blessing that grandma's giving everyone. She's like, okay, this is all the food that was prepared. Now you guys eat it and enjoy. So that's how we do a Jesa ritual in Korea. So um, if you want to do something like that, it's not a bad idea. I mean, we do it like up to 4 times a year almost. We summon grandma's spirit and all the ancestors to come and partake in everything. So if you want to do it for your grandma because you feel like, oh, I miss her, and I don't know what to do, well, do that for her. It's that time of year. Grandma died. May 11th, and I kind of miss my grandmother or my mother or my father. Then do something like that, and it'll make you'll feel their presence, because it's like you're acknowledging their memory, their consciousness, their yin energy, your ancestors, your inherited DNA of everything you are. This Jesa ritual, this ancestral ritual, this necromancy ritual. I mean, you're calling on the dead. You're you're asking for wishes. You're asking for all these things to the dead to come and be with you, and to protect you, and to grant you everything that you've ever wanted in life. So, all right, that's how it works in my tradition. Adapt it to your traditions in Western culture. I'm not saying go all out like this, you don't have to, but improvise something, just don't be stupid about it and feel like I have to go out and get, bracken ferns and persimmons. And no, if you're gonna eat fried chicken, put fried chicken down there, because grandma must have loved fried chicken too. So, that would bring you closer to the dead, and the people that have departed and been in your life. And that shows gratitude. And I think they would really respect that. They're like, wow, every year of my death, like a birthday, they remember me, they care about me, and I still hold a place in their memories, and I will be there for them till they pass on and join me in the other realm. So, anyways, Manji, and I hope you guys have a good night. Bye.